The Chicago Sky are one of the worst basketball teams I've ever seen.
The Chicago Sky just lost again, but this wasn't any ordinary defeat. The coach benched Angel Reese mid-game, and some people are calling it a white flag. 9 points, 2 rebounds. That's all Reese could muster before being pulled. What went so wrong? And should fans start to question whether Reese is the right fit for this team? Stick around because this story gets ugly. Bow, 17. That's how many three-pointers the Chicago Sky allowed the Phoenix Mercury to sink in their latest loss. Not just once, this has happened 3 times this. No other team across the league is anywhere near as porous from beyond the arc. The numbers aren't just bad, they're historic. And in this game, the Sky showed exactly why their perimeter defense has become their Achilles heel. Imagine this. Sammy Whitcomb camped out beyond the arc, completely unguarded, drains a 3. Then Satu Sabali steps up, receives a routine dish, and before the Sky can scramble into any kind of rotation, another shot's dropped in. This wasn't just a lucky night for the Mercury. These are practice-level looks. Time after time, Phoenix found ways to exploit the Sky's glaring weakness on defense. So glaring that by halftime, it was obvious no adjustments were coming. Let's start with that's the frightening thing here. The complete inability to shifters. The team's defensive schemes didn't just falter, they disappeared. One of the Mercury's simplest strategies was stretching the floor with 4 shooters while keeping Elisa Thomas tied into the paint. They made it too easy, isolating weaker Sky defenders and feeding wide-open options for threes. There was no response, no urgency, and no sign of recognizing how Phoenix was dissecting them. This game wasn't an isolated embarrassment. Look at the numbers across their season, and you'll see this has been a systemic issue plaguing the Chicago Sky. On average, they're at the bottom of the league in opponents' three-point percentage. Often letting shooters knock down open looks consistent. The league average in defending the three-point line sits noticeably higher than where the Sky have been hovering. Every team has a bad game once in a while, forcing closeouts or misjudging rotations. But the Sky, they've turned bad defensive habits into an identity, and it's bearing them game by game. What's more alarming is the domino effect these breakdowns cause. When the Sky give up shot after shot from outside, it forces their offense into overdrive. It's all about trying to claw back into games they've fallen behind in, which leads to rush possessions and 4-shot selection. If the defense can't hold its ground, the offense becomes frantic. The Mercury took full advantage of this in the second quarter, building a comfortable lead as their shots kept falling and the Sky scrambled in vain. At its core, this problem goes even further than poor execution. It's a roster issue. The Sky have size and physicality in the 4 and 5 positions, but those players simply can't rotate fast enough or cover shooters who spread the floor. The lack of defensive versatility between certain combinations on the court highlights how mismatched this team feels strategically. On nearly every play last night, it was easy for Phoenix to make everything break down. So is it the scheme, the personnel, or both? Whatever the answer is, one thing is painfully clear. The Sky's three-point defense is their identity, and not in a good way, but defense isn't where the problems ended in this game. Let's talk about Angel Reese. Angel Reese's performance against the Phoenix Mercury wasn't just disappointing. It was almost unrecognizable. 9 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. That's it. For someone who's built her reputation as a rebounding force, those numbers weren't just low. They were shocking. And it wasn't just the stat sheet. The way the game played out told the real story. Reese, who usually dominates the paint with her rebounds, was instead neutralized by Phoenix. They forced her out of her comfort zone, and the few times she managed to attack the basket, her shot form looked, as one analyst put it, out of control. The Mercury defense seemed to know exactly how to counter her aggressiveness, taking away her ability to finish consistently near the rim. What made matters worse was the way the Sky's strategy seemed to actively work against her strengths. Normally, Reese is a magnet for boards, constantly positioning herself to grab second-chance opportunity. But in this game, it felt like none of that was part of the game plan. Analysts even stated that the coach had taken away her ability to impact the glass, which raises a serious question.